call the Osceola County School Board meeting to order for December 18th, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. If you would, please join me in silencing your cell phones for the duration of the meeting. And we will begin our meeting with an invocation by Eric Skelton from Church of Nazarene. Frank Telemko, principal of Harmony High School, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Our national anthem will be sung by Italiana Martinez, followed by our mission statement being read by Matt Tuckman from our coordinator of community relations, and Naira Alvira will lead our multicultural translation service. So if you'd all rise with me. Mr. Skelton here for our invocation. Ted, would you mind?
God, we come before you this evening. We're grateful for the love and mercy you show to each one of us, the patience you have with our iniquities, and the opportunity we have to continue to strive to be more like you. We thank you for this body and what it represents for our community. We ask you to give us wisdom and discernment this evening. We'd ultimately make decisions that are in the best interest of the taxpayers we serve and the students that we work alongside of every single day. We are grateful for your love, and in the spirit of Christmas and the holidays that we all enjoy at this time, pray that we will all choose to reflect upon you, upon our lives, and upon the purpose you've called us each to achieve. It's in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Clarence Sacker, would you please lead us? There he is.
Come on up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Mike, you may be seated while Mr. Tuckman comes up to read our mission statement.
Good evening, everyone. The district mission statement is inspiring all learners to reach their highest potential as responsible, productive citizens. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Naira Alvira and I'm here to provide interpretation services. Mi nombre es Naira Alvira y estoy aquí para proveer servicio de interpretación.
Miss Snyder, I think this is the first time you've been back at one of these meetings since you helped me translate the welcome back to school message into Spanish, which you usually translate and speak onto the phone, and I attempted in gringo fashion. But I just wanted to say thank you personally in front of everyone here for working through that process with me. And I did not know that año, did I say that right?
That's right.
Well, you got to be careful, because if you don't say that right, it's a part of the human anatomy that you don't want to say.
That's what the little wiggly line over there.
Well, we got through that, didn't we? And I did want to say thank you to you in person very much for helping.
You're more than welcome. You're a very good student.
Thank you.
That would be the first time that's ever been said, too, by the way.
Good example. You're a good example. You're a good example, Mr. Booth.
Wasn't going to say anything.
Brings us to positive comments from the board. I'll go to my right to Mr. Weishire, if you'd like to start.
Yeah, well, I really just want to say thank you to Dana and your team for the work we did over in Tampa a few weeks back. We had the opportunity, some may not know, to present to school districts and school boards across the state of Florida and the great work that's taking place here in Osceola County. And Dana and her team once again stepped up, had a great presentation that we worked on to pull together and co-presented. And Dana, it's always a pleasure to work with you. And once again, because of your work and the work of the staff that you have supporting you, the Osceola County School District was shining once again across the state of Florida. So thank you.
And I'll just say that I did hear, we were actually eating lunch later, and someone came up to me and said, you know, that's the best. I've been coming to this conference 3 or 4 years. That's the best presentation that I've ever seen, the best seminar that I've ever seen. And so kudos to you and your team, and I think it was very productive in your work. I think is very valuable to this school district. Other than that, Mr. Thacker, I'd just like to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year. Come back safe and sound when the school year begins after the Christmas break.
Yeah, I want to take advantage with so many people being here and also say a few words, but I was present during one of your presentations, and I thought it was excellent. And you know that I wouldn't say so if it wasn't true. Some of those breakout sessions can be rather painful. I'm glad that you and the staff did a wonderful job. Kept everybody focused. A lot of interaction. Very proud of you. And I too would like to wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, safe, Happy New Year's, and that's all. We have a very long meeting.
Yes, thank you. I'll keep it short. I want to, first of all, Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you for being here. And to Mr. Weishire, I would be remiss if I didn't say that you were excellent. But I did want to recognize our special programs team. They're amazing. I got the opportunity to spend the last 3 weekends with them and talk about selfless character. Our special programs team is incredible. They love our community. They welcomed me with open arms and let me wear cute little hats and help them out in the parades and the amazing things that they've done throughout the community. So I just really want to take some time to recognize them because they're great, they're excellent, and it's really a great testament to our community to have them out there representing our school district.
Thanks.
Just a second, what Ms. Castillo said, our special programs team has been at the parades with Ms. Castillo. They also were at Christmas for the Kids on Saturday to make sure that families across our community had toys that do make the holidays fun and special for kids who otherwise might not have them. In addition, on Saturday, they were at the CFHLA annual event where we collected almost 800 shoes for students in need across the Osceola County and Orange County area. So a tremendous outpouring of support from our special programs team, but also from this entire community, for which we are very, very, very grateful. And I also would be remiss if we didn't take this opportunity, Chairman Thacker, to welcome our student. This is his first meeting, Matt Inyan. So we are glad to have you with us, Matt, for the next couple of weeks as you get to observe the work of the board and be a part of the discussions that we have here.
Thank you.
My turn? That will, I think everybody's pretty much said my thoughts here, so we'll begin with our presentations. Our first presentation is to honor the Honorable Patricia Strobridge, a circuit court judge in Osceola County, who has done a tremendous amount of help for our family court and for some of our truancy issues that we've had. So we thank you very much, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, board members, Dr. Pace, leadership team, and guests. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the Honorable Judge Patricia Strobridge. Sorry. On March 2016, Judge Strobridge heard her first truancy case filed by the School District of Osceola County. And since that time, Judge Strobridge has heard 118 court cases, which have resulted in 420 hearings. 67 of these cases have closed, and 98% of the cases that she presided over have resulted in improved attendance. We put together a few of our favorite quotes. She has been known to say, "There's do or don't do, there is no try." Yes. She's also been known to say, "This is not an invitation." We have parents who explain why their children will not go to school, and she often asks, "Who's the parent?" And to parents and students who are not making the gains that they should, "If I don't see improvement next time, bring your toothbrush." To any parent or child who does not seem to see the value of an education, she has said, "If you're not the lead reindeer, the view never changes." Her knowledge of educational law, academic options, and the school system have made her a strong advocate of students staying in school and parents accepting responsibility for their child's education. We are deeply appreciative of her leadership in the area of positive attendance for the students of Osceola County. And in January 2019, she'll begin her tenure in Orange County. So we wanted to take this opportunity to acknowledge her work in Osceola and to tell her thank you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think she did forget one, which is we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh.
Take photos, we can give it to you again.
The Honorable Patricia Strobridge, in appreciation for her collaboration with the School District of Osceola County to combat truancy and to assist in the important work to keep students in school. If you're not the lead reindeer, you never change us. Thank you very much. Yes, it's been a huge difference. Thank you. We're sorry to see you go north.
I'm sorry to be going.
Mr. Chairman, may I say something? Judge, as you know, I've done this for 40 years. I have never worked with a judge who cared about students as much as you. And my brother-in-law, so you all know, is the chief judge. I haven't talked to him since he told me he was moving you to Orange County. So there's a family rift, Judge.
Bring her back. Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Next brings us to a presentation for the Osceola County Veterans Council. Ms. Schaefer, are you?
Yeah, it's important. Yeah. Good evening. Superintendent Pace and Chairman Thacker, could you please join me back down up front? The Osceola County Veterans Council initiated the Flags for Classrooms program in December 2005 when members of the organization learned that many classrooms in the school district did not meet the legislative requirements set in 2003-2004 requiring American flags in every school classroom. It is my distinct pleasure tonight to introduce Pierre Brault, a U.S. Navy veteran, and Rick Montana, a U.S. Army veteran.
It's an honor to present you with this check for $1,000 from the Osceola County Veterans Council for the purchase of the U.S. flags for our Osceola schools. I know it'll be put to good use.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much for helping us make sure we have
Thank
those
you for
flags
all
in
y'all
our
done for us in our
classrooms.
country.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Montana.
See you around. Maybe next year, ship, baby. Take care. See you later.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Should have hollered at Kelvin. He wasn't paying attention. One Hope United.
Brings us to our next presentation, which is from Matthew Tuckman on One Hope United.
Good evening, everyone, and happy holidays to all. Stand right over. Yeah. This year, the team at One Hope United, a national organization focused on ensuring better lives for children, reached out to us to inquire about a partnership with our district for a new event in the Central Florida area. With us tonight is Ms. Eva Horner, Executive Director for the state of Florida, might I mention headquartered right here in Osceola County, to highlight the inaugural accomplishments of our partnership.
Good evening. One Hope United increases opportunities for children and families by providing quality solutions that enhance lives, communities, and futures. In September, we held a fundraiser in partnership with the Osceola School District. This was our first year for the One Hope United Duck Derby held at SeaWorld's Aquatica. We created a friendly competition between the schools within Osceola County to see who could adopt the most ducks for a race around Aquatica's Roa Rapids, and these are the ducks, they're not real ducks. And the Harmony Community School won first place, prize of $1,000, and adopted 363 ducks. We also awarded prizes for schools in second place and third place. Second place was Parkway Middle School at $500, and Central Avenue was third place, and that was $250. Most importantly, all schools received $1 for every single duck adopted on their behalf. In total, we achieved nearly 2,400 duck adoptions and were able to raise over $20,000. So this fundraiser has a lot of potential for both partners. Today, One Hope United is proud and honored to present the Osceola County School District with a check for $4,145. Thank you, Osceola County Schools, for partnering with us, and we look forward to next year's second annual Duck Derby at SeaWorld's Aquatica on October 12th.
Now may I please ask Dr. Pace and Chairman Thacker to come down to accept One Hope United's generous donation to Osceola County Schools.
Do you all have Fitbits?
We're getting our steps today.
I would love to hold the duck.
Go to the next presentation. Before. Yeah, we're just announcing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Happy holidays.
Next item on the agenda would be presentation to recognize the internal audit account with bookkeepers. Ms. Lisa Lynch from Finance.
Sorry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Each year, an audit is conducted for every Osceola County school of their internal fund accounts by an independent CPA firm. The internal funds consist of the monies collected for such things as field trips, proms, ticket sales, and so forth. The school bookkeepers are instrumental in gathering and processing the cash collections and all the responsibilities that go along with their jobs. So at this time, we'd like to recognize those bookkeepers in schools who consistently have no findings in their internal fund audits, which essentially transmits to a clean audit report. This is quite an accomplishment for not only 1 year, but especially when a school can accomplish this year after year. So at this time, we'll like to recognize, we're going to have it in several categories. The first will recognize the schools, and this is for 3 consecutive years with no audit findings. Ready? Okay, the first school is Chestnut Elementary School.
No. This is a big deal. Are you learning?
Okay. And next we have Mill Creek Elementary School. We have Neptune Elementary School. And we have Harmony High School. And And lastly, we have ALCO, which is the Adult Learning Center of Osceola.
Yeah, I'm sorry you have to hang out with Mr. Hickey all the time.
Next, we would like to recognize a school that had 4 consecutive years with no audit findings. That's Parton Settlement Elementary School. Congratulations. And now we'd like to recognize the following bookkeepers that have 5 consecutive years with no findings. Nancy Samala, she's the bookkeeper for PATHS Professional and Technical High School. And we have Sheila Marsh, the bookkeeper for St. Cloud Middle School. We have one bookkeeper that has 7 consecutive years with no findings. This is a great accomplishment. It's Brenda Gonzalez, the bookkeeper for OTEC Osceola Technical College. Thank you all for your work, your hard work, and we really appreciate it. So let's stay up here and we'll have a picture.
Congratulations.
You need to get us closer.
Put Clarence on the side. Let's book in. Did you wear your salmon colored shoes today? You did? No, you didn't.
Thank you all very much. Congratulations.
Good to see you. Mr. Vice Chairman, if you don't mind. I'm just going to say, I will say as the bookkeepers are leaving, I can't tell you that my wife served as a media specialist for a long time in the school district. My dad was an athletic director and administrator. I can tell you these people are extremely important and valuable members of the staff at all the schools, so congratulations to them, and we appreciate everything you do.
Yes, thank you very much. Dr. Pace, I'll turn it over to you for administration.
Thank you, Chairman Thacker. And as you know, we've had a couple of retirements here recently, as well as opening a new middle school, which has created some administrative openings, and we're very excited to announce some new appointments for your recommendation and consideration tonight. If we could start by inviting Ms. Rolando to come to the podium. As Eugenia is walking up, I am pleased, Board, to recommend her approval for the principal of Kissimmee Middle School. During her career, she's been a teacher at Mater Admirabilis Institute in Buenos Aires, Argentina, a teacher at Dinjon Middle, online ESOL professional development facilitator for the Osceola School District, and assistant principal for instruction at Kissimmee Middle. She received her bachelor's degree in education from the Instituto Superior del Profesor Joaquin Gonzalez. I should have practiced that, Mr. Booth. And her master's degree in educational leadership from Grand Canyon University. She is currently a doctoral candidate in educational leadership with the American College of Education, and she brought so much excitement and passion to her interview, and I know she has it in her heart for the great work at Kissimmee Middle School to continue. So, Board, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Weiser, a second by Mr. Booth. Board, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations.
Well, first I want to thank you, Board, for the opportunity to carry out this important job. I don't take it lightly. I have a passion for my school, for my community, for my parents and my students. And I want to thank also the committee that recommended me, Mr. Phelps, Dr. Pace, Dr. Fries, Dr. Respes, Mr. Allen, and Dr. Reinhardt. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I also want to thank my biggest mentor, Mr. Whedon, and my left and right, Ms. Maybra, the other assistant principal. I wouldn't have done anything without them. And also for the support that my adoptive family has given me in here, my friends Marcela and Rebecca. All my family lives in Argentina, but I have great people supporting me. So thank you so much.
Great.
And one last person that I want to mention is my son, who is in here.
Yes,
and
embarrass him.
Gunnar, he's a little shy, but he's a knight at Neo City, and he's very much interested in his new freedom, given the responsibility, but I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bienvenida.
Muchas gracias.
If I could invite Ms. Combs to the podium. As Karen is walking up, I am pleased, Board, to recommend her to be our new principal of the Adult Learning Center of Osceola. During her career, she's been a teacher at Shiloh Christian School in Arkansas, a teacher for Fayetteville Public Schools, a teacher for George Washington Community Schools, assistant principal, assistant superintendent for Lafayette School Corporation, and principal at Edgeley Elementary School before she joined us 2 years ago as the assistant principal at the Osceola Technical School in Poinciana campus. She received her bachelor's degree in elementary ed from John Brown University, her master's degree in educational administration from the University of Arkansas, and what she shared with us during the interview was that she had really found a place where she knew she was going to make a difference with our adult learners. So I'm pleased to recommend Karen for your consideration as principal at ALCO.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Booth, a second by Mr. Weishauer. Board, any further?
Discussion. From Argentina to Arkansas. Every country in the world.
At least they start with an A.
I'm joking.
Boy.
Any other further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations. Good luck to you.
Well, thank you. Having just moved from Indiana to Florida in April, I can tell you that Osceola County Schools has been just an extension of a school family. The staff at Poinciana, Osceola Technical College, has been wonderful, and I have to thank Mr. Ott and Kim Miller and Shannon Melvin, who is here, just for being extra support for me as I learned a new state, a new area for me, and a whole new school system. So I'm excited. I know I have big shoes to fill, but I'm excited to serve the adult community, and I'm really looking forward to making a difference with our adult students. I'd like to introduce my family, Dennis and Jacqueline. And I've been very thankful for them. They've done everything from hall books to, move me several times, to paint the school, to do all kinds of things. That they've been with me through it all. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it, and I look forward for you seeing good things from ALCO.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now if I could invite Dr. Leah Torres to come to the podium. Board, I am pleased to recommend Dr. Torres to be our Director of Research, Evaluation, and Accountability. She has been a teacher at Horizon Middle School, a middle school science specialist for our school district, and a research specialist for our school district since 2014. She received her bachelor's degree in molecular and cellular biology from the University of Arizona, and her master's degree in math and science education from the University of Central Florida, and her doctoral degree in educational leadership from the University of Central Florida. What Leah has been able to do with the Research and Accountability Department to truly bring data alive for our principals as they are working to help meet the needs of their students and help their teachers address those individual differentiated needs is just really, really incredible. She not only can process the numbers, she can talk the numbers in a way that people like us can understand. And we're very excited, Board, to recommend her to be our new director.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion for approval by Mr. Weishauer with a second by Ms. Castillo. Board, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank Dr. Pace and Dr. Fritz for their leadership, and Mr. Mike Allen for being my mentor for the last 12 years through pretty much all my career here in Osceola County, and my REA family who's here, and my family who is here with me tonight. And I look forward to helping everybody who really wants to be on camera. So, thank you for this opportunity, and I'm excited where we can go.
Great. Good luck.
Next, if I could invite Ms. Yanellis Ballard to come to the podium. As she's walking forward, Board, it's my pleasure to recommend Yanellis as the Assistant Principal of Harmony Middle. Over the summer, she had a slight bump to the head and thought she might want to leave our school district, but she quickly found out that she wanted to come back, and we believe that she'll be a perfect candidate for our new middle school, along with Mr. Talimko. She's been a teacher at Coral Shores High School in Monroe County, the math science coach at Parkway Middle, science coach at Gateway High School, coordinator of turnaround schools, and the director of high school curriculum instruction, assistant principal of instruction at Harmony High, and currently is teaching at Tohoboka High School for us in science in a very critical needed area. She received her bachelor's degree in chemistry from Florida International University and a master's degree in educational leadership from Western Governors University. Board, Ms. Ballard.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Booth, a second by Mr. Weishauer. Board, any further discussion?
Go Wranglers.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. Welcome back here, and welcome back to a new job at Harmony Middle. Congratulations.
Thank you, Board, Dr. Pace, District Leadership. I am so excited to be back and with this opportunity. I'm extremely grateful, and I'd like to thank Mr. Hickey, Dr. Fritz, Ms. Respis, Mr. Allen, Dr. Reinhardt for your guidance and leadership. I am just ecstatic. I'm here with my husband, Kelly, and my daughters, Isabel and Alexandra, and I just can't wait to get to work with Mr. Talemko and get the Wranglers ready for their first rodeo. So, go Wranglers!
Yes. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Board, if I could invite Lacey Galloway to come to the podium, please. Board, I am pleased to recommend Ms. Galloway to be our new coordinator of school nutrition services. She has been a food service manager for the school district of Manatee County, a culinary specialist first class in the United States Coast Guard Reserves, and school nutrition services specialist here for our school district since 2015. She received her bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics from the University of North Florida and her master's degree in leadership from Grand Canyon University, and I'm confident she will continue the great work alongside our team in school and nutrition services.
Great.
I have a motion by Mr. Weishauer, the second by Mr. Soto. Board, any further discussion?
Eat more beef.
So been instructed. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations to you.
Thank
and
you.
good luck.
I want to thank the school district for giving me the opportunity to continue to serve in nutrition services and help the school district go from good to great. I also brought my parents, my sister, and my daughter. My parents have always supported me on my adventures that I go on, and my daughter always keeps me wild at heart. So thank you.
Congratulations.
And Board, you will find on the regular personnel agenda 2 transfers, just to mention to you and make the community aware. Sometimes we do ask our assistant principals to take on new roles to help them grow and to continue to serve the district in the best place possible. So Ms. Miller, who's been the assistant principal at Osceola Technical College, will be joining Ms. Combs at the Adult Learning Center in the same position, and Mr. French, who's been the coordinator of ALCO, will be the assistant principal at Osceola Technical College as of the first of the year. So that will be on the regular personnel agenda, no vote needed, but I appreciate your support, and we appreciate their willingness to serve where needed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is this will bring us into our public comment section of the meeting, but I know there's a lot of you that were here for your family and friends to support, and this is a good time. If you would like to depart and miss the exciting part of the meeting, that is fine. You may go. We'll have a little lull here, so we can let you get out.
Can I give out the best dressed award for the night?
Oh, come on, say it.
Yes, absolutely.
Love it.
Second that.
Love it.
Good eye, Mr. Booth.
I want that jacket bad.
Sure.
I said I'm going to get that dressed over. Sir, we'll need you to fill out a public comment form.
Okay, as everybody is exiting, have our public comments. If you want to speak before the board this evening, there's some yellow sheets in the back. You can still fill one of those out and get us up to it. Get it up here to our secretary, Ms. Culver, and you can speak. I have a few already. I'd like to start with Kat Gordon.
Mr. Chairman,
Dr.
I
Cat,
have to leave. Would you
good evening.
provide Ms. Gordon? She has
Good evening, fellow board members.
Remind her that 3 minutes is what.
That's right, and tell Frank not to take my time. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Mr. Thacker, Chair, and to the Vice Chair, Mrs. Soto, and to my fellow board members that I've worked extremely with. Terry, it's a pleasure to meet you. I look forward to working with you. And to Mr. Kruppenbacher, do not let him, Dr. Pace, interrupt me. I only have a few minutes. I'm here to speak on behalf of concerned staff members at New Beginning Schools, and it's on the transportation plan, which we think is a great idea because of what it will do for Osceola County. We would like for you to come and make recommendations with our staff, and we're hoping that maybe you could visit us tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday, or at least the first week in January. We would like to talk with you, maybe looking at the combining of the buses for some of the students, and maybe adjusting the time schedule also for us. I think that each of you on the board realize that New Beginnings is a K-12 special school, and we would like for you to consider all of the needs of all of the children there. We love being there. It is a K through 12. It serves several municipalities. It is an unincorporated, they serve unincorporated Osceola County. Let me say this, it's only one in the nation. It is often duplicated, but they cannot be replicated. Only Osceola County has the key to making sure that children with special needs are met, and I can attest to that. But the students and family are important, and you know that. You spoke to them as your babies, and so do we. Dr. Pace received a letter from us, and immediately she responded. Her busy schedule allowed her not only to respond to us, but also to respond to our principal. We know, board members, that you have a very busy schedule. Most of you have visited our school. We're going to ask Terry to come, because I think that the data that you will receive will be able to help you to formulate a plan that will be able to help these families be placed in the right position at the right time and get the necessary services that they would need, that we will be able to allow them to do. Madam Superintendent, and to the board chair, we at New Beginnings are special kind of people. We love what we do. We love what we do at New Beginnings. It is not an easy task. Some of you are very much aware of it, because when we moved from Simpson Road, from Cornerstone and Crossroad, I think you could know what we went through. It's no longer like that. I've been with the district since 1995. That's a long time. So I'm asking you, I'm going to ask that the superintendent allow us to let me leave a copy of the letter and our talking points so that you will be able to see what some of the faculty members are concerned about. We ask that you please come and make recommendations to our staff and help us to put these students in the best possible place, because your superintendent is also doing so. We look forward to seeing you entering the doors of a dynamic school under great leadership. Come on board. We need your support.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. bring us to Thomas Veracki. Veracki? That's right, I'm sorry. Please state your name name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Thomas Veracki. My address is 1400 Celebration Avenue, 101, Celebration, Florida, 34747. I would like to speak today just to clarify some policy issues noted for the use and administration of medical marijuana within the school system. In reading over several documents, one in the Osceola County paper and being able to pick up information off the internet, I just feel uncomfortable. One of the issues is where a parent or registered caregiver must give 48 hours notice to a principal prior to allowing them into school to administer the medical marijuana. It's not clear if they have to do it one time for a time period or if they have to do it every 48 hours for the next 48 hours. I don't think that's clarified in any of the documents that I've seen. The second one is I'm concerned about the caregiver and or parent not being available once this has been approved. I know we have a lot of single parents in the area, a lot of people that are working 2 and 3 jobs because of just making ends meet. I'm concerned again by this in the school system that by approving it, they would not be able to be there to give them. Also, one of the things that I'm concerned about is that it states that the principal would need to designate a place on school grounds where this is to be administered. My question there is it going to be inside the building, outside the building? I don't know what the definition of school grounds are. And the next question is smoked marijuana as part of this process? And again, the same question. If it is, inside the school or outside the school? The other one was it says school level personnel couldn't administer, store, hold, or transport the marijuana in any form. I view that as a pretty loose statement. I would like to see the word couldn't changed to will not administer, not couldn't. I think couldn't is a kind, very nice, ambiguous word. I think it should say will not. Buses and field trips, again, what if the parent is along, where the rule says it cannot be administered on bus or on field trips? Myself as a parent and as a chaperone, when my kids were growing up, I went on a lot of trips, rode on a lot of buses. How does the rule work there? If the principal is signed off on as an example, a daily allowing administering of the medical marijuana, what happens now when the student is on a trip? Do they now miss that day, or is there going to be some exception made? Another one is that it says students could be expelled if the rules are not followed. Again, to me, that's too soft. I think that wording should be changed. Student will be expelled if the rules are not followed. I think that is the positive, and I think we need to make that happen. I'm concerned about 2 other issues. Does the use of medical...
If you can, your time's up. Just go ahead and wrap up, though.
Okay, I'll wrap up then. To me, there's still a lot of questions for the use of medical marijuana. Again, that's been debated pro and con for years now. In my opinion, based on the questions and the information published by the board, I do not feel that this should move forward. I know that other counties have moved forward in this area, but this should not cause the Osceola board to be lemmings and follow the rest over the cliff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Brackey, is that how you say it?
Yes.
It is a state law, by the way, that each district does have to create a policy.
Does have to what?
To create a policy.
Oh, I understand that. I'm just trying to clarify the policy. I just don't see clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, and I meant to do this one second since it was in the same vein on the New Beginnings time change. Dora Diaz and Lucille. Again, please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
Lucille Timms, Orlando, Florida, 32835. New Beginnings, staff.
Dora Diaz, Orlando, Florida, 32824. Orlando, Florida, New Beginnings staff.
We just want to make a comment on what Ms. Cat was talking about concerning the time of the school, because we do service our kids very well there at New Beginnings. You must be aware that all of our students, vast majority of our students come from Osceola School Board schools. They come there with various reasons, issues, and difficulties. Broken families, drug users, sexual misconduct. They come with issues. Having them start school at a later time will also interfere not only with their academic studies, but also the environment that they're leaving out coming in. It is very important to us that we leave our school time the way it is, because we can serve them more effectively there at New Beginnings. I've been there for 18 years, love it. It's an awesome place to work, and we see a lot of our kids turn around and do have a new beginning.
We're just concerned that the school times are going to be posing a safety concern. We're at a school, we're in the middle of 192. During that times that you guys proposed from 9:20 a.m. and 4:20 p.m., there's so much traffic, and the distance that these buses have to go, we're just concerned they're going to be getting there late at night. And speaking of students, before they enter our schools, we conduct searches, which take an average of 20 minutes. I'm not sure if that was considered when the proposals were changed. So just imagine, like, with the concerns from the students and the parents, when their students are coming home so late, just due just the traffic and just the distance that they have to travel.
Also, keep this in mind. A lot of our employees have second jobs so that they can have adequate income to provide for their families. So what we do, we don't really basically do it for the money. We do it because we love the kids. So we get another a job. Some of our staff have other jobs in the afternoon. So that has to be considered also when you make those changes, that we will have to work later and no longer be able to have that extra income to provide for our own families. So we would just like for you to keep all of those things in mind. And like Ms. Cat say, come out and see what we do. Come and visit the school so you can make a conscious decision before you make a decision according to us when it's going to come down to the time and how we will benefit our children.
We want to thank you for listening to our concerns. I urge you just to keep student safety in mind as a priority for the students at New Beginnings.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And last, I cannot read the last name. It's Florida Aviation Academy. Todd.
Yes, sir. I'm an attorney that represents Florida Aviation Academy, and I just wanted to reserve my time to discuss that.
When we get to that, that's fine. We can do that. Seeing no other comments, that'll close our public comment portion of this. We'll now recess our school board meeting for a special public hearing, and I will turn it over to Mr. Boyd.
Good evening, school board members. Thank you for this opportunity to provide for you a review of the proposed changes to school board policies, including 2 new proposed policies. I will summarize them briefly and then step aside so that a public comment opportunity can be made, and then ask for the board's action on these items. The first proposed new school board policy would be 3.61, religious expression in public schools. This implements the requirements within Section 1002.206 Florida statutes, Florida Student and School Personnel Religious Liberties Act. The Department of Education shall develop a model policy regarding a limited public forum and voluntary expression of religious viewpoints by students and school personnel in public schools. Each district school board shall adopt and implement the department's model policy. That language authorizes the revision or the actual proposed new rule before you tonight. The second proposed new school board rule is 5.622, medical marijuana. This policy would implement requirements within sections 381.986, medical use of marijuana, and 1006.062, Clause 8, administration of medication and provision of medical services by district school board personnel, Florida statutes. Each district school board shall adopt a policy and a procedure for allowing a student who is a qualified patient as defined in Section 381.986 to use marijuana obtained pursuant to that section. Such policy and procedure shall ensure access by the qualified patient, identify how the marijuana will be received, accounted for, and stored, and establish processes to prevent access by other students and school personnel whose access would be unnecessary for the implementation of the policy. The next proposed revision is to an existing School Board Rule 2.95 Wellness Program. This revises the policy language within that rule in order to comply with changes in related state and federal law and to reflect the required criteria of the related Florida Department of Education model policy, unless school district procedural precedent maintains a higher standard. The following list of changes are to the school board's student progression plan. This particular revision combines the former 3 separate documents for elementary, middle, and high school into a single document, K through 12. All 3 combined removes duplicated language for conciseness and retains language unique to each level for consistency. The changes reflect recent changes in state law and provide consistency with school district procedural precedent and current research-based best practices. The policy document is revised to add appropriate state law citations. In particular, the document revises policy language to include requirements within Section 1000.03, Function, Mission, and Goals of the Florida K-20 education system regarding student performance and Florida's K-20 education priorities. The policy language is also revised to address new requirements within Section 1007.2616, Computer Science and Technology Instruction, Florida statutes, regarding access for middle school and high school students to computer science courses. There's also a revision to address new requirements within Section 1003.4203 Digital Materials, CAPE Digital Tool Certificates, and Technical Assistance Florida statutes regarding the opportunity for elementary school and middle school students to earn Florida Career and Professional Education Act, CAPE, digital tool certificates. An additional revision addresses new state requirements within Section 1011.62, Funds for Operation of Schools, regarding lowest 300 schools and required teacher certification. There's a revision to reflect the required criteria within Section 1008.22, Clause 3C2, Student Assessment Program for Public Schools, Florida statutes, for statewide standardized assessment results waivers for exceptional student education, ESE students. Lastly, there is a revision that clarifies that the school district percent point values for high school level courses apply for such courses taken by middle school students. And that completes the summary of the proposed changes, and at this time I would pause for the opportunity for public comment.
Okay, just before we start that, Mr. Varacki, I probably made a mistake. I should have probably let you comment on this at this point, but we can add your comments to this section of the minutes as well that you made a minute ago.
And I also have a copy of my presentation. If you'd like, I could leave it.
Okay, if you'd like to leave that with Ms. Culver, that would be good. We open it up. This is a public hearing. We'll open this up to the public right now. If there's anybody who would like to comment on this issue, you may come forward. You'll have 3 minutes. Hearing none or seeing none, no movement, we will close the public hearing portion of this this hearing, and we do not need an action at this point, correct?
No, we would request action on these changes tonight.
We do, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I thought it said it. Okay. Board?
I don't have any comments or any issues to discuss. If anybody else has something to say. No?
We have to have a motion.
Then I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Soto with a second by Ms. Castillo to approve the school board rules changes as submitted on the record by Mr. Boyd. Board, any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign?
No.
Motion carries 4-0. Mr. Weishauer, you, or 4-1, I mean, you were the, oh, right, okay. I couldn't tell. Motion carries 4-1. Thank you very much, Mr. Boyd.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, board.
We will now adjourn our public hearing and reconvene our regular school board meeting. You'll bear with me 1 second so I can get back to that. Brings us to our agenda and agenda modifications, board and superintendent. Any changes?
Yes, Chairman Thacker, I do have item 19.02, a blue sheeted item, approval of the recommendation for immediate termination of the Florida Aviation Academy Kissimmee campus charter.
Okay. And anything else? There's, I have a note on addition of 2 workshops. We can do that at the end of the meeting.
Yes, if you will look at the calendar that has been provided at your seat,
Okay.
we are or have requested the intergovernmental workshop on school safety and insurance. It would be scheduled for January the 22nd at 5:30. Ms. Culver's done a great job of reaching out to the other governmental agencies, and I feel like we'll have full representation at that event. In addition, on February the 19th at 3 p.m., we're requesting a budget update workshop for the board to give us a budget information and direction for the 2019-20 planning.
Does that require action on our part, or is it just information?
Information, I believe, as long as the board approves of these additions to the calendar.
That's what I thought, too. Okay. All right. Board, any other changes? Mr. Attorney? We're all good? Entertain a motion?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Booth with a second by Mr. Soto to approve the agenda with the addition of item 19.02. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. That brings us to our regular agenda.
Oh, let me get back there, Mr.
No, I'm sorry, it brings us to our informational items. And I believe, are any of these, are we going to do the updates on the Center for Employee Health, or are these all informational at this point? Is it there? Oh, I didn't see him. Ken, do you want to give us an update? The other items are in our packets and for our information, correct?
Correct. Unless the board has questions, we do have staff here to address them.
Okay.
Good evening. I have the regular updates in your packet from the Center for Employee Health. Just bring to your attention, we're at $1,979,000 in avoided costs for our members, for those utilizing the services of the center. The next is the iPad survey results for the month. As you recall, their goal is to have at least 90 in the top box as far as people giving them a 5 in each of those areas. We continued to have the same questions or issues with the wait time, but in the last 3 weeks, the center, the Florida Hospital team at the Center for Employee Health has committed to seeing all patients in the same day if the patient can come in that day. So as of last week, they've seen 342 same-day patients, which averages about 29 patients, additional patients a day that they're actually seeing in the center. So that's hopefully going to have a positive impact on the on that wait time and seeing more patients actually being seen in the center. Just a couple of things related to the center, also related to the upcoming holidays. The center will be open during the holidays. They will be closed Christmas Day and New Year's Day. We're also going to be putting out an email reminder this week about the e-care, that those services will be available as well. For the $25 copay, and then there's some additional information that'll be in that. It's being finalized by Florida Hospital related to the e-care and a special offer for the month of January. So hope to have that information out before the end of the week, and then we'll follow up again after we return from the holidays. The other item in your packet is the monthly medical and pharmacy reporting package from Gallagher Benefit Services. If you go in the 3 pages, the combined medical plans, a rolling 12-month report, we actually saw for the month of October a reduction of $760,000 over the prior month's costs, so we were happy to see that, but we got a little ahead of ourselves because today, this morning, actually, I got the November report, and the November report is we are unfortunately up $1.5 million over the month of October.
Do you have a timing of reporting problem with Thanksgiving at the end of the month or something?
We've requested some additional reports to see if we can figure out exactly what's going on or what happened. We do know, we talk about high dollar claims quite a bit, but we do know that in the month of November there were no high dollar claims reported. So, and that would be an individual claim that's exceeded $25,000 on an individual. So we didn't have any single or multiples of those types of claims. So we do know that information, but we're definitely trying to drill in and figure out what has impacted that so dramatically. So we'll definitely follow up with you once we get additional information. That would be it, unless anybody else has any questions.
Board, any questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Board, any questions on any of the other informational items before we move on to our regular agenda?
Just a comment real quick on the charter update. I just want to say thank you to Dr. Vasquez and the staff that worked so hard to pull it together. As you guys know, in looking at the report, 21 charter schools, over 10,000 students. A significant portion of what we do as a school district happens out of that department. And I don't want to miss the opportunity to say thank you to you ladies that work so hard every single day to make sure that all those pieces and parts are being managed. So thank you.
Okay. Board brings us to our item 16 on our regular agenda. Your pleasure.
I'll make a motion to approve item 1603, which approves 01 and 02.
Second. I have a motion by Mr. Booth with a second by Mr. Soto for item 16.03 on human resources. Board, any further comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. Business and finance.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve 17.03 as submitted.
Actually, before you do that, I need to pull, we've got some people that have some comments on 17.02, so let's pull it. Let's do these one at a time.
Did you wanted to comment on that here, Mr. Thacker?
Well,
or did you
want
want
to? 1701 then? Is that what you want to do?
Oh, that's right. We can do it at 19.
At 19?
Yeah.
What do we need to do with 1702 then?
That is the corrective action plan regarding finances and
So we can go as it is. Okay. All right. I'm sorry, Mr. Soto.
Just approve it as it
okay.
Still valid.
Still valid? Okay.
So I'll renew the motion to approve
17.
17.03 for both 1701 and 17.02 as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Soto with a second by Mr. Booth to approve item 17.03. Board, any further questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve 18.08. Agenda under regular facilities.
have a motion by Mr. Soto,
Second.
a second by
Wait, not you.
by Ms. Castillo.
Got to get in this ballgame.
Trying.
The reason I'm a little slow is I seem to be, on my printed copy, I don't have an 18.
Here.
Oh, wait. 7. Okay. I don't have 7 or 8 on here. I go from there to 19. So, thank you. Okay. I have a motion for any other motion for approval by Mr. Soto with a second by Ms. Castillo. Any further discussion or comments, board?
Nope.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign.
I'll
Motion,
make-
motion carries 5-0.
I'll make a motion to approve item 1903. Wait. Okay, excuse me. I'll separate. I'll make a motion for 1901.
Okay. I have a motion for approval of 19.01 by Mr. Booth with a second by Mr. Weishauer. Board, any further questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Excuse me, opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to 19.02, which is the blue sheeted item. And board, your pleasure, or Dr. Pace, would you like to?
If I may clarify something for the record, please, sir?
Yes.
Yes, as you know, we prepared this document and have provided it to you in advance of this meeting. Unfortunately, it was a blue-sheeted item, and I apologize for that. I would like to indicate to the board that on item 3, regarding security at the school, there was an SRO visible when I was on campus today, so we want to make sure that the record is clear regarding that. In addition, I would like to strike number 21 on the blue-sheeted document. We have confirmed that the 2 students who were there on Gardner scholarships were not reported for FTE. So there is no conflict regarding those particular use of funds, and I want to make sure that the record is clear regarding those. However, I stand firm behind the recommendation to terminate the existing charter based on my professional educators' observations of things over the last 2 weeks. As you know, 2 weeks ago, we were served with an eviction notice for the school. A week later, we received the resignation of 7 members, including the instructional staff, other than the commander who was there. I can make a commitment to you as a board, should you approve this recommendation tonight. This staff is committed to continue operating the school until this matter is formally resolved. We would move the program to OHS in January because the current facilities lease expires on December the 28th. It was recently renegotiated or has an amendment. I can assure you that as of tomorrow morning at 7:30, we would have certified teachers in place with planned academic and engaging CTE instruction. We also have made arrangements for security to be on staff, and district staff would be on hand as well, to make sure that we're providing opportunities for the children and the parents to be assured that we will commit to continuing the program or provide them additional choice options should they be interested in seeing those. We've made arrangements with the principals at both OHS, where an aviation program is in existence, as well as at PATHS, our professional and technical high school, as well as Neo City Academy, to be on staff to share with parents the opportunities that exist in terms of choice that would be there. Tomorrow's engaging lesson would be planning, designing, and building robots with the T2D model with the full competition, and we have instructional staff there for Thursday and Friday to make sure that the academic components are also going to be covered. I did observe today FSA testing, pre-testing, while the principal, who started, I believe, 4 days ago, was there to try to start disseminating the data, but I am not convinced that the health, safety, and welfare of the students is in place, and for that reason, I stand behind my termination recommendation.
Mr. Soto has his light on.
Oh, that's right.
Mr. Soto, before you start, I want to just get to consensus from the board. A little different than we normally do. We do have a couple people that want to speak on this item. Do we want to let those people speak before we discuss?
My recommendation would be that you would enable the speakers to address you,
Yep.
then close
that portion
and bring it back to the board.
Do you want to comment now, or do you want to wait?
My light was exactly to address that.
Okay.
What I want to, if the board agrees, is to, before we even make a motion to approve, to get the other side of the story.
Sure.
I believe that they have some folks there, there's some.
Yep, we're going to call them.
And we know that now, so thank you for taking care
And
of
Mr.
that.
Booth, you have a comment?
I just wanted to ask Dr. Pace, if we're talking about bringing it into Osceola High School, if we don't feel like there was the correct academic plan being followed there, who gets that grade?
What do you mean, who gets the grade, sir?
So I don't want to bring in a charter school group that could potentially bring down the grade of the district, is kind of the point I'm getting.
Or
to.
the high school.
Well, sir, as you
Or
know,
the high
we're
school,
responsible for the academic achievement of
We are.
all of our charter
We are,
schools.
absolutely.
And again, we have a district staff that's committed to providing credit recovery opportunities where needed if we are not able to produce evidence in the next couple of days that students have earned their first semester credit.
Gotcha.
Very good. With that, we're going to open up the public comment portion of this meeting. We will do it similar to what we do earlier in the meeting. If you'll come up after I call your name, give your name and address for the record, and we will give you 3 minutes, which will show on the monitor in which to address us. First off, would you like to, Todd, I'm sorry, when you come up, give me your last name, so I apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Thacker. My name's Todd Hepker, Hoepker. My writing's not very good.
That's okay. No, there was a cross out in the middle.
I'm a lawyer in downtown Orlando, and I represent the Charter School of Trade Logistics with respect to this termination notice that the school received yesterday at 3:41 p.m. I mean, literally less than, about 24 hours ago. I have here in the audience Melissa March, who is the executive director of the school, former acting principal, Michelle Nye, the new principal, and Carol Siegel, who's a third-party HR person to answer any questions any members of the board would have. And there's also parents here that support the school and object to this immediate termination. And as I said, this notice was sent at 3:41 yesterday, and we're supposed to be here today, I guess, responding to that. I don't think it's adequate notice. That notice purports to immediately terminate the school's charter. It lists 24 purported grounds or allegations, which in our view are unsupported and can't be supported. And those grounds are supposed to mandate the immediate termination of the charter. And as you may be aware, I'm sure Mr. Kruppenbacher is, the statute that governs this is 1002.33 of the Florida statutes. It requires that the grounds for termination be proven with clear and convincing evidence, which is a very high standard to meet. And it's our position that none of what's been alleged in that notice rise to that level, much less there being any admissible evidence that arises to that level. We don't know where these allegations came from. We don't know their source. We don't know the facts that back them up. There was really no substantive discussion with members of the board of the school or the representatives of the school. And this notice took everybody, by surprise, out of the blue. And, kind of as an illustration of the problem is that, as Ms. Pace said, she went to the school today, and she observed at least 3 of the items, 24 items, being satisfied and she's taken them off. We can rebut each and every one of those allegations. We want the opportunity to do so. The charter contract requires 30 days notice and an opportunity to cure, which we're obviously not getting if there's an immediate termination. But there's one thing that's clear, one thing that's certainly clear. what provides an immediate and serious danger to the health, safety, and welfare of the students. Not one of those things, not one of those grounds, which again we say are unsupported in that notice, can do that. And that's the only way the charter can be terminated immediately. So we want an opportunity to rebut and disprove and respond respectfully to what's been alleged and try to work it out before there's this immediate termination, because we're here for the kids. I can just sum up real quickly. The school is on sound financial footing. We've settled with the landlord. This eviction notice was just a legal leverage tactic by the landlord, who was also providing instructors, inadequately, by the way. So the school's on sound financial footing. We've settled with the landlord. We've signed a new lease. We're ready to go. We'll be ready to go on January 8th when this new semester starts with a new principal, and we'll have adequate staff. So once again, we want the opportunity to respond. I don't believe that this is the appropriate forum to hear evidence and submit evidence and disprove these allegations. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next, Larry Payne.
Good evening, Larry Payne.
State your name and address. For
Yes,
the
sir.
record.
Good evening, Larry Payne, 4627 Caballero Trail, Kissimmee. I'm here just to share my personal feelings and thoughts, a little bit about my background. I'm a retired detective. I've been in law enforcement for 30 years. I have been a volunteer in the district for over a decade, book buddies, chaperone, proctor, etc. My son attends a school, and I can tell you that the kids that attend that school are some bright kids. They are good kids, and I think they deserve a chance. And I think that that the parents that are here today and all the parents of all the kids are willing to step up and make this school a success. As the attorney mentioned a moment ago, we were suddenly made aware of these changes. And I'm here today to hope, and I spoke to the superintendent earlier, that the board would give the school an opportunity to prove itself, that it can succeed, because I think it's a wonderful idea. It kind of reminds me when high schools were, when you had vocational opportunities where you learn how to build motors and work on things with your hands. So this is a very good idea, very good concept. I don't think that we should hastily, quickly make decisions and allow an opportunity for the school to become a reality. I've stepped up. I am OASIS certified. I'm there at the school almost every day, working with Robin, who's one of the coordinators here at the district, getting parents, make sure their background checks. We have parents every day wanting to volunteer, help. Again, there's no discipline issues, no behavior issues. Obviously, there were some concerns in the school. I think some of the things were mentioned about safety and danger. I'm a little bit confused about that, being in prior law enforcement. I don't know what that might be, but certainly I'm there. I see kids that are learning. I think if given the opportunity, the school is given the opportunity, I think it will be something that this county can be proud of to have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Payne. Next, Donald, is it Franz? Frano.
Thank you for letting me speak. I have to say I'm very angry in that we thought things that had been disrupted last week are now finally stabilized, and then we get the notification today with no real warning. Thank you. Otherwise, I'm sure you would have a lot of parents here to testify about the school. Our kids are bright. They're doing wonderful. And this school presents opportunities for their futures that are like nothing else. My son is starting to work on his pilot's license. He's passionate about this school. We've joined Civil Air Patrol. He's due for a promotion tonight. We are skipping the Air Patrol meeting tonight to come and testify to you guys that this school is a functional idea, and it's a brilliant idea, and it's going to do amazing things for the kids if you will give it a chance. I realize there's been some bumps in the road. It's a charter school. It's an opening year. I get that. But we just had things settled last week, and now all of a sudden, with just very, very little notice, there's a motion to terminate the school. As a parent, I'm very upset about that because he's doing well. He's doing wonderful. My son is right here in the Civil Air Patrol uniform. He's got 2 classes left. He's in 10th grade, and he's done with his high school credits. He's dual enrolled with Valencia. He's planning on going to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and this school will give him that edge that will define his entire future. So I ask you to please, as you're making your decision, to consider the future of these kids, because that's what you're supposed to be watching out for as the school board. Not your agendas, not whatever you think might or might not happen. I can tell you from what little bit I've heard tonight, the accusations are false. Every time I've gone to that school, a resource officer's been there. Had conversations with them regularly and periodically. I've seen no evidence of any harm for the kids. Yes, there was an issue with some of the teachers. I'm not even sure what all happened there, but I can tell you that the school has integrity and the school's being run upright. And so I just ask you to please, please, please give our children a chance at this future that is so bright that you'll just snuff out if you terminate this academy. Thank you.
Mr. Frano. Thank you. And lastly, I just have Jose. And if you, are you a student? You do not need to give us your name. Just give it. No, come on up. You can speak. You don't have to give us your name, though. Just go ahead and.
No, you don't have to do that.
No,
Okay.
you don't have to. You can just give us your comments.
So I can only speak on behalf of the students and everyone there. I know everyone there loves the school. I can testify as I speak to almost every student daily. Everyone loves the school. Everyone loves the idea. Any sort of harm or stuff that is deemed to be present, us the students haven't found. Now, faculty, they may have a different opinion, but in the end it belongs to the students who are responsible, and in the end will get hurt. So I can say that every student there loves the school. And I can say if it's terminated, there's someone I know. He drives an hour and a half to school every single day. His parents are probably going to switch their job and are looking to sell their house just to move there, just to pursue his career. Just because this school offers him more opportunities than he's ever had. And I can say the same to me. I've never been in a school like this where I actually enjoy going. See, I've been in gifted since a while, and I hated it. I hated school. But this gives a different type of learning, in which it's more interactive, and I'm learning the same things, but in different ways. But in the end, I know what I'm learning, and I learn the same things. But it's giving us what we need. And I can say, on behalf of myself, that I'm happier than I've ever been. And I can say on behalf of many students that I speak there, that they're happier than they've ever been, simply due to the school environment, everything that's there. So I only ask that the school, you give it an opportunity, as it is the first year. The first year of the charter, there's going to be some problems. But if the problems are never addressed and only short notice is given, then how can they resolve the problems? I just ask. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir, Mr. Chairman, if you could write your name down and give it to the clerk, and you would keep it sealed in the record, we do need to have.
You'll just take this and write it on there and give it, and you can hand it back to her.
Tanya, just-
And I want to tell you, you did a very nice job speaking. You did a really nice job. So thank you for your comments.
Tanya, excuse me, Ms. Cole, that would remain sealed.
Those are the only people that I had that had requested to speak. Is there anybody else? Are we out of slips in the back? Come forward.
Tanya doesn't need a slip.
Hello, how are you?
Good, please,
I'm not from this
if you
county.
would, when you're done, if you just fill out, so she's got it written down.
I sure will, sir.
But go ahead and state your name and address.
My name is Carol Siegel. I have been involved with the charter schools from the Keys to the Tallahassee areas for 21 years. I am the third-party HR manager for this school and for many other charter schools that have doing wonderful, among them Charter Schools USA. And I have been personally involved on watching every minute of what's going on in the school. I volunteered to Dr. Payne today to provide any evidence that you might want to show and to prove that the accusations for the teachers that left were unfounded and they were not true. Therefore, we're asking for an extension, me as a third-party HR provider, to provide the evidence that proves that the school is doing okay. I have Tom Herter, which is the assistant coach, was the assistant coach for the Patriots. He has volunteered with me to do an assessment on the students, their morale, how they're feeling. And he says he saw the change on the first week. The students are extremely positive and they are working towards their goal. He says that he is going to volunteer and be involved with the students to make sure that that continues. So I'm here to commit myself to bring clarity and bring extremely clear records for all of you to review at any time, from payroll to data to exhibits and evidence. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. And I believe there's one. Would you like to come? They're in that.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Katia Calixtro. I live in 4712 Herside Drive, Orlando, Florida, 32837. I am the single parent, practically, because I'm divorced for a while, of an autistic child. My son has Asperger's syndrome. He is one of the recipients of the Garnier Scholarship, and I contracted services in FFA for my son to attend. He got extremely excited about the school. They had welcomed him with open arms. They have helped him to become a more sociable individual. He loves the school. My son was rejected from 7 schools in Orange County because he was too smart, and they didn't have the services for him. My son developed trichotillomania when he was at Hunters Creek Middle, pulling his hair out of the stress. My son also has fibromyalgia, and it costs him a lot of time to wake up in the morning. But he takes whatever medication is needed now, and he does whatever he has to because he wants to go to school. He loves his friends. He loves his teachers. Even though they have left him, he still has respect for them. Thank you to the programs that they have. Most of the kids in this school are very respectful. You see, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. There is no bullying happening in that school, and that is because of the leadership that they have. And I fully trust that leadership. I've been there. I've seen it. I've never seen my son happier than this. I've seen kids crying when they thought that they were going to be let go. They make their voice very clear in the parent meeting that we have as an emergency because of the rumors. It took a lot of parents to come up and say, what's going on for real? And they explained it. We understood it. The kids calmed down. And then a few days later, all the personnel decides to resign. I don't know the reasons behind that. But the only thing I can say is that those teachers did not have the well-being of the kids at front. Whatever interest they have, I don't know them. But teachers don't do that. They don't go and resign like that. At least give 2 weeks notice and let somebody replace you so the kids can continue studying. For me, it sounds like a boycott, to be honest. So I beg you to please let this school continue. Give them the chance to address whatever you think is wrong, which I don't think there's much wrong in there, if there's anything, and let these kids, these over 100 children, continue to be happy and eager to learn what they're teaching. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So one more? Good. Please state your name and.
Thank you. Michelle Nye, 760 Baffy Avenue, Orlando, Florida. Good evening. Thank you for your time and attention. I am the new principal of Florida Aviation Academy of 4 days. So, one of the great opportunities that we have is to teach our kids life lessons. That life doesn't always go the correct way. Life isn't always going to go, and you're always going to have wonderful teachers. How do you still hold yourself to the rigor and the relevance? How do you continue to go to school every day and develop that, regardless of who's in the classroom, regardless of what adult? Do you have access to the tools? Do you know what you're learning? Are you responsible for your learning? These are things that we stress here at Florida Aviation Academy. So today was the first exam day, so I don't have tons of data to aggregate to you, but I do want to say that we had our ninth graders in our lowest cohort, 18 of them, took their final exam today in English, and they were all level 1s and a couple level 2s sprinkled in there. They came back with 75% pass rate today on that exam. I am so proud of them. So we also had, for data, our FAA assessment, which is our unmanned aircraft systems, which are called UAS, which are the drones. And this is a trade school certification where avionics instructors are teaching the students this particular trade. When they finish the school, they have to pass the test in order to go sit for the Federal Aviation Association test to be certified and licensed for 2 years. So we had 41 students take that assessment. We had 29 students pass at a rate of 70% or better, which is what's required in order to go on to take the assessment. And of that, we had 49% of those students pass at 80% or better, which allows them to go and sit for the test tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. If this plan were in effect, those students would miss that opportunity. So our plans for the future, with 4 days in, obviously, is not enough time to make tons of change. What we have made change in is the schedules that are posted, our communications to our parents. We've had a parent meeting. I've sent out newsletters. We are continuing to vocalize expectations to our students that the onus is on them to continue their learning, regardless of who's in the classroom. I am proud to say that the students have overcome all these hurdles and are making significant strides. I would like the opportunity to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nye. I believe Ms. Castillo may have a question.
Hi, thank you so much for coming. I can see how passionate you are about your craft, so I appreciate that. I just have a couple questions for you, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So I understand, of course, you're only 4 days in, so I know it's a lot of pressure and stress. So thank you so much for showing up for the kids. How many certified teachers do you currently have?
So currently, in 2 weeks ago, all our students left. And so we have certified subs in place. I have one who's certified in social studies. We have made offers of letters to the other content areas, and we're in the process of certification. So I have one certified teacher currently in the building with the certified subs in their subject areas for the other 3 classes to get through the assessments and the proctors.
Okay, so they're certified in the core curriculum, but what about their additional curriculum? Do we have any teachers available, or do you have anybody in the pipeline?
Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes. We're most of them have letters in our. Most of them have letters of offers, and we're waiting for them to get through the certification component.
Okay,
and so
so
again, I can't hire people in 4 days. Obviously, I want to have a great fit for our kids. They are unique. They are brilliant. We need people who are going to challenge them. And I don't want to just pick anybody. And so while that's happening, we also want to make sure we have good instruction in place getting ready for our exams, which is what we're doing right now.
Okay. I just want to repeat what you said because it's really important for me to understand. So you've made offer letters to how many teachers?
We have an offer letter to a math instructor.
Okay.
Social studies has accepted. We made an offer letter to the ELA teacher who waiting for confirmation on that. So social studies, math, and science. We have a person who is interviewing in her final letters. We have not made the offer yet. We have to go through our final interview tomorrow or Thursday. Is tomorrow Thursday? Thursday.
Assuming that all of these teachers accept, including the one you haven't made an offer to yet, how many more would you need by January 8th?
One for critical thinking.
Okay.
And I've interviewed candidates for that. I just haven't selected anybody.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
Mr. Kreppenbach, do you have a comment or a question?
Yeah, members of the board, I just want to clarify something that was said. Ma'am, I don't have any questions.
May I step away?
Yeah, you can step away. Thank you very much, Ms. Nye.
I heard her say that the students wouldn't be able to sit if you voted tonight for the FAA test. That's not true. What happens, should you support the superintendent's recommendation, is the school district is required to operate that charter school pending an appeal.
Correct.
They have 10 days to file the appeal. There is then a DOA judge that has to render an opinion within 60 days as to whether or not it was appropriate to close or whether or not it was not appropriate to close. So I think that it would be misleading to have people here alarmed that somehow this school closes tomorrow, that the kids are going to be out on the street. That's not true. And I just don't want that created, that appearance.
All right. I think that I don't have any more. Okay. If we could, if you want to speak, let's gather them up and get so we can keep some control of this.
Hello, my name is Avelis Ravello,
Thank you.
and I'm a 3848 Eagle Isle Circle. I'm a parent at the school, and I've been volunteering for the past couple of days. I care a lot about my child's education, and I wouldn't have my child in a school that I don't think that is doing a good job with his education or his future. I've seen parents that withdrew their kid and are coming back, in the days that I've been there, knowing that this is the right school for their kids. I've seen a change in my son that I've never seen. I mean, it's incredible. So I do think that they're doing the right thing. It's just that they need some time to reorganize. I've seen a lot of changes in the past few days, but they haven't been given a chance. The teachers that left, unfortunately, I feel that it's probably for the better. That's my personal opinion. I don't think that they were there to teach. I think that the new teachers that are going to be hired are going to be there to teach the students. We have a great new principal. Ms. March is great. I think that, they just need to be given an opportunity to get the stuff together. It's too quick to expect everything to be 100%. So that's all.
Thank you. Can you hand up that yellow sheet to Ms. Culver too, please, or anywhere? Would you like to come up? And if you are a student, you don't need to say your name. You can just tell us what you'd like to tell us.
Okay. So, I'm nervous a lot, so just,
That's okay.
yeah.
You relax. We're fine. Take your time.
Okay, so obviously my words are not going to be as impactful as any of these, but I just wanted to get my point. So, as a student, I'm just going to ask, don't close the school, please. It's really good. It's an opportunity that not a lot of people have, or pretty much almost no one has unless they go to, aviation school, and that costs tons of money. And it's honestly, it's true. I've never been happier. Well, honest, I have friends, which I hadn't had for a long time, and then, I found a school I liked, which I hadn't had in a long time, not since elementary school, to be honest. Everything is good, and yeah, we had the setback of that notice to evict. Not eviction notice, just to clarify. And, yeah, it's fun, and it shouldn't be closed down just because we hit a bump in the road. Because, yeah, we could have gotten honestly, a bump in the road can and sometimes will absolutely total a car, wreck it, and leave it in the swamp. But it doesn't have to. All right, sometimes a bump in the road is just a little bit of a, and then you can fix it up. At most, you might get a little bit of the car broken. You just got to go to a mechanic. I don't even know. It's a metaphor. Anyway, just don't close down the school because people actually like it and are having fun there. Everyone's a little quirky. Everyone's a little, weird, and it rocks. It's awesome. So, yeah, do me a favor. If you can't do it for my beautiful face, why don't you do it for all the other students in the school?
Thank you. Great job. Thank you very much. Student?
Can you come back? Can you come back?
Oh, God, now I feel like a politician.
Sir, you need to make sure afterwards you give her your name. The clerk.
What?
That you give the clerk your name.
Yeah, he will.
Okay, good.
All right.
Ms. Castillo has a question for you.
Yes.
Sorry, I am asking too many questions. I apologize. So what was your name again?
He doesn't.
Oh, sorry.
That can
Tell me so you said you love the school.
Yes.
It's fun. You've never been happier. What exactly is it that you love about the school? If you can just give me one sentence.
One sentence? I can give you a word.
Give me a word.
Actually, 2 words. The people.
The people. Thank you.
That's the best part. There's nothing better than actually having friends and administrators who give a darn about your life and, actual nice things. I mean,
That's good.
pretty much what it's all about.
Thank you.
Did a very nice job. Anybody else with questions or yellow sheets wishing to address? If not, we will close the public comment portion. We'll turn it back to the board to discuss and make a decision. Anybody?
Well, I'm going to ask the district, they're making the recommendation. Do you want us to just rely on the blue sheet and whatever we heard, or is there something else? You want to maybe add some context to some of these things? Here's what I'm talking about. We're talking about at least seven, but I think it's 7 of the concerns that relate to falsification. That's a big deal. One in belittling, one threat, one student safety at risk. In my opinion, I think that these, if they are substantiated, if you can go ahead and add some context to these, would definitely cause me concern about, a charter school that's operating that way. And this would certainly be the kind of hole in the road that would definitely take the cart out of the road and cause a major crash, to use the students' metaphor. So this is where we're at right now. I really think that Dr. Pace, your staff, can go ahead and add a little bit of context. This is, I know that you did your due diligence, but I think it needs to be put on the record at this time so that we could go forward as to whether or not make a recommendation, take a vote on this issue.
Certainly, Mr. Seto and board members, and I struggle a bit with the surprise element that some of the members who have spoken to you tonight have shared. We have been at the school for the past 2 weeks, almost daily, not me personally, but if not me, a member of my staff, with concerns and being very honest and open with concerns about the core academic construction, as well as the lack of security there. I do understand that Kissimmee Police Department had worked out with them to share with another officer on campus, but when we're going there on extra times, I've seen an officer there twice. I also know for a fact that, as we indicated in the record, there was a significant payment owed to the city of Kissimmee for police services. That has since been paid, but only when we brought it to their attention. And I can't help but think that that could be part of the reluctance to have officers scheduled on a regular basis. But the real challenge that we have is the core academic instructional piece. And within your packet with the blue sheeted items are documents taken from our student information system by district staff, showing where students were or were not scheduled in focus in terms of courses of enrollment, identifying that for some courses you had the same teacher identified as the instructor of record in 4 different classes at the same time in the particular day. That is what we're talking about when we're talking about falsification in terms of our reporting to the state for the purposes of earning FTE funds, as well as for the purposes of awarding student credit. Students started the year at critical thinking and then were switched to intensive reading, intensive language, or intensive language arts and intensive math. However, that documentation, again, is via email, not necessarily reflected in the student information system. And according to the 7 adults who spoke with Mr. Kreppenbacher and Dr. Fritz last week, there was no change in actually what was happening in terms of core instruction. It was just a matter of changing the record. There are students whose schedules don't reflect the students' grades that were on the report card. And again, The schedule was originally set up as a 4x4 schedule. However, our REA team was not aware that it was supposed to be set up as a 4x4 schedule. So while students are supposed to be completing either algebra or geometry or world history or an ELA class, grades 9 or 10, or biology, the entire year's worth of curriculum in this semester on a 4x4 schedule, they're not going to be able to take the EOC because we didn't know in time to schedule that for them. So if the students have had the core instruction that they need, which for the last 2 weeks, I think even Ms. March would admit has been lacking after the resignation of all of the core academic teachers, and even the week prior to that, there was some disruption with the student discipline incident and assemblies and a student debate, those types of things. I'm concerned whether or not they've had enough instruction to be ready, and certainly would be ready to take these tests in May, 4 months after that core instructional piece. Ms. March did indicate to me that she had plans to initiate a boot camp, but right now there are no core academic instructors to provide the day-to-day instruction, let alone a boot camp. As a district, I was requested by Ms. March and the team to provide substitutes for 48 hours. We did that. We extended that to all 4 days of last week. This week again, we don't have core instructional staff on campus to prepare students for final exams. Ms. Nye, in all defense, has provided FSA type EOC pre-test type things from the state curriculum websites. She's been gathering the data. I observed that today. But before we take the test, there has to be core academic instruction. On the campus, on the first day that I was there, when the eviction notice was there were 2 adults on campus other than parent volunteers, Ms. March and the commander. When Ms. March and I talked about the eviction notice, I said to Ms. March, if you don't have enough adults on campus, you're going to have to start calling parents to come in and take kids home, because 2 adults and 111 students is not adequate supervision for student safety. It was lunchtime. Some kids were outside. There was no adult presence. We found some kids upstairs with no adult presence. Those are the types of safety concerns that I have expressed from the beginning to Ms. March in person, that we have discussed and that the staff has also discussed with her. So that is the reason for my recommendation for the termination. Certainly, if the board wishes to give this an opportunity to try to fix it, we can. Otherwise, I have staff committed to go in there, extend the learning for these students, and make sure that we can continue a program, but a program of quality with both the aviation component and the academic component that's critical for our students to be successful as they move forward.
Dr. Pace, if I could just say, you just said those are the reasons that you articulated. Those are those reasons plus whatever reason you didn't.
Those are identified through the course of that letter. They're just not said in those particular words.
Mr. Soto?
Dr. Pace, so we have the instructors and the staff to continue with the specialized curriculum of this charter school?
We have a new aviation program, or it's an older aviation program that we have reinvigorated at Osceola High School that we believe we could wrap into that, and we could build the same kinds of relationships with folks at the Kissimmee Airport that the team has. We can't do that tomorrow, but we will have core certified teachers there tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday to continue instruction that will include the CTE and hands-on project-based learning experiences that the kids have been having.
The meeting's closed. The hearing's closed at this point. It's back to you all for questions.
Somebody else go ahead while this is important.
Frank, talk to me about charter contract timeline requirement for notice and what happens here if we take the action that's recommended by the superintendent.
I stayed in very close contact with the Department of Education and the division that handles school choice and charters. Quite candidly, when they heard there were no teachers, Dr. Pace gave them 48 hours. They were like, you should have acted that night if you don't have teachers. There is no statement of what notice is. Remember, Dr. Pace is bringing you, under the statute, an immediate recommendation based upon a decision that she's concluded the health, safety, and welfare of the students is at risk. She just concluded that. So once she concluded that, it was yesterday, I advised her, you don't have the luxury of saying, now we're going to wait a while to go to the board. You've got to act on that because you're telling me, at least as the attorney, you think the health, safety, and welfare of students is at risk. So you act and you give notice then. And what happens now is they have 10 days to request a hearing, and then within 60 days, the DOA judge has to hear everything and issue a recommended decision regarding this matter.
So, thank you. So to follow up on that, let's say the results come out that the termination was premature, shouldn't have happened. What happens at that point, and how do we roll back what we've done if we've done it?
Automatically turned back to the charter operating people. We're responsible for attorney's fees, if you read this statute correctly, and then you move forward from there. Nothing precludes, I will say this, once if you were to support Dr. Pace's position, nothing precludes that new principal from meeting with Dr. Pace during this period of time and seeing if these issues are able to be resolved. But you have some significant issues that were presented. Dr. Fritz and I met on Friday. You have 7 adults talking about the falsification of academic records, right? You have them talking about unsafe conditions in this hangar. You have them telling you that these students are being taught by aviation instructors, and that another teacher who's certified's name is being submitted as the teacher who's never been there. These things, I'm not here to say they're telling the truth or not telling the truth. The problem is when you get that, and then I should say this very respectfully, we have been told certain things from the charter school representative that we ascertained were not accurate. Doing that very politely. So at this point, Dr. Fritz, I mean, they cross-checked everything. They went into the computer system. They were looking at everything, and they were finding some of what those teachers were saying were valid. Now, would I advise teachers to walk out? I mean, I think you've got students involved. That's a different issue. But I think during this period of time, if they can present something to Dr. Pace that she wants to come back and make a different recommendation, she can. But the reality is, remember, as of December 28th, we don't have a facility. We've heard they may have another hangar they can rent, all right? Let me tell you what the teachers say about the hangar. And one of the things you have to do is have conditions that are safe and healthy for the students. That it's blistering hot with no air conditioning when it's hot, and it's freezing cold on everyone when it's cold. We're told that one teacher was responsible to transport students in her personal car or her husband's car to and from school. You've got real restrictions under state law on if you're going to establish a transportation of students. So all of this adds up to this issue, Mr. Weishire, of an immediate threat decision by Dr. Pace and are acting immediately. And I can tell you, I have spoken every day with the Department of Education. Spoke with them yesterday, spoke with them this morning, advised them what we were doing, because when it comes to the health, safety, and welfare of students, you don't have the luxury. I mean, they have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If Dr. Pace and her team doesn't take over, we're aware that we think something's unsafe, and for 3 days, we're not going to intervene.
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
A couple of quick things. Number one, I want to make sure that I say this publicly. I don't have a problem with the superintendent's recommendation and her request for us to hear this and consider this, because I think she's doing what is within her fiduciary to look out and to uphold what's supposed to take place from a school district and superintendency standpoint. So for me, that's not the problem. I'm just wanting to unpack the details because this is happening quickly. I am concerned about 111 students, if that's the current number, and I'm concerned about what happens tomorrow and understanding the pieces, parts, and processes that I need to be aware of as a board member. I want to clarify something you said, Mr. Kruppenbacher. You said that talk to me about the facility piece and the hangar piece, because maybe that's a nuance that's lost on me at the current moment. Do they still have a lease in their existing facility? Do they not? What's changing that I need to be
They
aware
are
of?
obligated to vacate, I believe it's by 5 o'clock on the 28th, to vacate the premises.
Okay.
That's Friday, right?
We had described to us,
After Christmas.
we have described to us, the students being, Dr. Fritz, correct me if my, students being intermingled with adults from the adult aviation school that haven't been fingerprinted. All right, remember, we're obligated to keep kids away from anybody who's not been fingerprinted during the school day.
Right.
So what happens tomorrow? Those students show up, and that school continues in existence, and the students continue being taught, but it is run by Dr. Pace and the administration of the Osceola school system.
Okay, I'll yield for the moment.
Mr. Booth?
Yeah, I was at the grand opening of the Florida Aviation Academy there in Kissimmee. I was at the airport hangar, very excited about the opportunity to have this in Kissimmee and Osceola County at the airport. And quite frankly, I'm very disappointed in the direction that this has taken. The allegations certainly, in my conversation with Dr. Pace and with Mr. Krumpenbacher, lead me to conclude that this is the action that we need to take. And, Mr. Chairman, I will move for approval of 19.02.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I think there's still some discussion. I want to say one thing. I know that I've heard the people say out here, and I totally believe this is a fabulous concept. It's unique. It's different. It's everything that charter schools are kind of designed to do. I know this was a vision and a dream of Kissimmee Mayor Alvarez, and I think it's still a fantastic concept. I want to see it continue, but the way it's going right now, it cannot continue in that format, as far as I'm concerned. So I understand there is a process, appeal process, if this motion passes. I will support the motion myself, but my issues are not with the concept. They're not with the idea of an aviation school. Nothing could be further from the truth of that, but I am very uncomfortable with the health, safety, and welfare of these students and the education they're receiving. And every day that we're losing that in a classroom for these young people is a day we never get back. So, Mr. Soto, I know you have a comment?
I withdraw my comment.
Yeah, to follow up, let's say that the board did not move forward with the motion that's at hand. What happens in a different context, Dr. Pace? The school continues to exist. We have concerns as a school district about the operation, the academics, and the overall running of the school as it sits now. Do we align resources around that to support it? What happens if the board goes in a different direction?
Certainly, Dr. Balgobin is our new executive director for Charter and Choice, and we would remain committed to trying to work with Ms. March and the team. But I can't say that I will accept responsibility for providing core academic teachers in a setting that I have no real control over. But I will do whatever the board directs me to do. But that is the challenge that we have here. We provided substitutes for 4 days, 48 hours beyond the initial request. Like I said, we want our students all to be successful, but ultimately it will be up to the principal and the charter board if you decide to continue with the current status quo. We will continue to monitor, answer questions, provide support as we can, and certainly bring back information to the board about the progress we do or do not observe.
So let me go on the other side of that. The action that's put forward right now is a motion by the board moves forward. Tomorrow you have an acting principal that goes in and oversees that campus and aligns staff to support that?
Don't have an acting principal, but I have Melanie Stevanowitz, our Executive Director for Career, Technical, and Adult Education, as well as Dr. Balgobin, Executive Director for Charter and Choice, who would both be on staff along with Dr. Fritz at 7:30 in the morning with a curriculum plan and security for the day, and as well as for Thursday and Friday. And then following that, we would be moving back to OHS, where we have a principal and an aviation program that we could incorporate the students into if they wish to stay, or we would be working with them over the next 3 days should they wish to exercise other choice options.
So all 100-plus students would move to Osceola High School?
If that's what they choose to do.
Okay.
Well, one of the things, as Dr. Pace and Dr. Fritz and the team were reviewing this with me, that I wanted to just add, and Dr. Fritz said, they need to get these kids set up academically for the next semester. And right now, they're not seeing any of that.
There are no schedules currently in focus for second semester for any of the students.
Board, any other further comments, questions? Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Booth with a second by Ms. Castillo to approve item 19.02. Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1 for item 19.02. Okay. Brings us to our attorney and legal issues for, I have 20.01 and 20.02 or 20.03.
The first item is the Flora Ridge. That district is set up, you'll see in the document attached, had 5 members of their board, 3 of which were property owners. They're not getting any property owners to step up, so they came forward, the county's in agreement, to modify the board, and the modification would be 2 appointments from the school board, 2 appointments from the county, and trying to pull it, giving it to you, Mr. Chairman, so I'll put it back up.
Can that be the school board members from District 1 and District 3?
Well, that's where the schools are, so.
It's to basically assure that there's adequate representation and recommendation from the staff and legal to approve it.
Just a clarification, Mr. Kruppenbach. Chair, may I?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. These would be actual school board members or appointees of the Osceola School Board?
I read it that it would be appointees of the Osceola.
Oh, okay. So the 5 of us would identify 2 candidates that we want to put forth to serve.
That's what I've understood all along, and I will clarify that. It was not about to volunteer you all.
It's actually, the recommendation is actually the director of finance and the senior accountant who's been involved in the past.
You have to agree to the appointment of the people.
Yeah. How's that?
Lisa and Magdalia.
Lisa. Okay.
Need a motion to approve.
Need a motion, board?
Motion to approve, stated.
Are you doing
20. This is 20.01 only.
20.01 only.
Yes. Have a motion?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Soto with a second by Mr. Booth to approve. to approve item 20.01. Any further discussion, board? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to item 20.02. Approve a recommendation order for the termination of Gilberto Colombo.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Soto to approve 20.02 with a second by Ms. Castillo. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, one other item.
Sure.
We received, since your last board meeting, a filing challenging a rule challenge, a non-promulgated rule challenge filed with the Department of Administrative Hearings on behalf of
No.
on behalf of a 4 students from the same family. I have to mention their name for the purposes of this. Brett Palmy, Carrie Palmy, Allison Palmy, and Christopher Palmy versus the School District of Osceola County in case number 185971RU. This is where there is a challenge and a request for them to be able to choose the school they want to play sports at that is not their home school. And we are dealing with that. It involves FHSAA 2. I need a closed session on it. We will be putting out in the next day or so in the state publication notice of commencing rule status to clarify this, so that what that does is the minute we start that shuts off attorney's fees, right? And we get this clarified so there can't be any ambiguity. And so, Tanya, I need to know the date of the next board meeting to put it in the record that we'd like to have an executive session to discuss this case following that.
January 15th.
Right, January 15th at 5:30 p.m. At 5:30 p.m. We would be
Executive session after the meeting?
executive session on that case.
Or at the end of the meeting?
We'd have a core reporter. The only people would be the board, Dr. Pace, myself, to discuss the litigation and/or settlement regarding that.
Is that it?
That is it, Mr. Chairman.
Dr. Pace, do you have
No, sir.
anything else? New business? Anybody, board members or board member comments? Does anybody have anything to add to the? What's that?
Everybody's okay with the addition of the 2 workshops to approve the calendar?
Yes, we all kind of gave it.
But we'll do it.
That's right. I'm going to. I can read the agenda.
Is it on there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Matt, welcome to the school board meeting. You've kind of got a lively one for your first one here.
Matthew, it's usually not like this.
Yeah, it's usually not like that. If you would like to offer up any comments, you are more than welcome to, or any questions for anyone here, or anything you'd like to say or add, you're welcome. It's your moment.
There's nothing in particular that I have to comment on right now.
Okay.
Well, I want to know what high school you're at.
Celebration High School.
Okay.
District 1 representative.
Well, thank goodness Jay's not here anymore. I'm joking. So what are you studying? What do you want to do?
I actually want to go into religious studies and philosophy.
Okay. Are you a senior?
I am, yes, sir.
Matt's a member of the senior focus group that I meet with.
Oh, okay, cool. Very cool.
And he's applied, I did your letter of recommendation to,
I've applied to Harvard. I've applied to University of Florida, Florida State University, UCF.
Well, Harvard and Florida are in the same.
Yeah, you got two
boat,
good
but
choices.
I don't know where you went with Florida State.
Got to have a safe school.
Well,
we're glad you're here.
Applies at Harvard.
Yeah.
Doesn't even need to think about applying to Florida State.
That's true.
Doesn't even be on the same list.
I do just want to say I did appreciate he leaned over to me earlier and said, clearly you're my favorite school board.
Yeah, that's what
And obviously he's sitting in the right seat to say those things. I appreciate it.
Matt, we are glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank
I know
you.
you have 2 more meetings after the first of the year. Yes. So you do have a chance at the end of every meeting to ask us any question, or if you want to make any comments or bring us anything from your student buddies.
Well, why don't you share those with us first?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
So, at this point, I believe we will recess for our executive session and reconvene upstairs in the county boardroom, finance boardroom. Is that?
yes.
Hey, this is your water.